What up, what up, what up, YouTube Live? How's it going, everybody? Let me get a drink real quick. Mm. Let me turn off my phone. All right. Today is May 8th, so that means it's the premiere of Lucifer Season 4 on Netflix. And I am a big fan of this show. I was one of the millions who were bummed out, who felt really down when Fox, its previous network, decided to cancel the show after only 3 seasons. Um, and I was also among the millions who were ecstatic, who were super stoked about the news that Netflix picked it up. And so now, after a year, I think, uh, since the cancellation, season four finally premiered, and I want to discuss it real quick before I head out to my screening this evening. I have the Hustler screening that I have to attend. But before I go, I want to give you my live review of Lucifer Season 4 that premiered today on Netflix. So, heads up, this review may contain spoilers. Okay? Heads up, I'll be spilling some spoilers in this review. Once again, spoiler alert, spoiler alert. Okay. Um, my fellow Lucifer fans, man, it's so good to have the show back. It really is. It really is. Um, and I tweeted earlier that it feels even better or more awesome. It feels extra good that we don't have to wait. We don't have to wait another week, or we don't have to wait a full week for an all new or another new Lucifer episode to catch up, to see what happens next. Because this is Netflix, so it's binge watch worthy. You can catch all 10 episodes, and guess what? That's exactly what I did most of today. I started around, I want to say 5 a.m. Pacific time, and I just finished the 10th episode around, I want to say 4 p.m. Because I had to get lunch in between and brunch or whatever, uh, or took shower in between. So yeah, man, I want to say it's a total of maybe 9 something hours plus, but it's worth it. I love it. How do I feel about Lucifer coming back? It's just so. It's like it's like having your one of your favorite kids coming back home. It's like here's the reason why I love, or here are the reasons why I love this show, and why I watched the first three, and I binge watched this fourth one. It's one of the reasons is the characters are so entertaining. They're so amusing, especially Lucifer. I mean, today some of the episodes reminded me of why I like him. Like, um, there's this scene where he tries to say goodbye to the entire police squad, and he couldn't remember some of the names, but the names that he remembered, one of them is the guard for the evidence locker. And he says something along the lines of like, so and so and so, thank you so much for allowing me to hang out with you in the evidence in the evidence room, especially when you allow me to try the cocaine first. I did not do the line justice, obviously, but when Tom Ellis, the actor who plays Lucifer, he delivers it with such suave and such charisma, and so devilishly good, man. No pun intended. And of course Ella and Linda and Mazikin, who's always about like punch first, talk later. It's just I really really like these characters. One of the scenes, Lucifer in this one of the episodes, um, he he tells Eve, because Eve is part of the story in the season, that his Big Ben is ready. He's like, he refers to his thing as Big Ben. It's like, yes, the Big Ben is ready. Dong. Oh my God, come on. You gotta love that. You gotta love that. The writers have the cheesiest but funniest jokes. Um, I loved it. I love it. Okay, so I made some notes. Let's get right to it. What do I think about the fact that this season has only 10 episodes instead of, back when Lucifer was on the regular mainstream network, like Fox, it had 23 episodes full on. Um, 23 or 22 average. So anyway, 10 episodes is awesome. I love it. I love it. So there, I kid you not, I can't even remember any fillers. I don't think this season has any fillers. I remember when Lucifer was on Fox, there were at least, I want to say, 4 or 5 episodes each season that were just distraction. Like I remember one episode was about Ella becoming, or for one day she became like a Vegas dancer, one of those with big feathers and that one. I was like, what is this episode? What does this episode have to do with the whole? I was just like, ah. But season 4, because of 10 episodes, it's the story is more focused, and I love the choices for the story, the evolution for the characters that the writers have in this season. It starts out with, because Chloe found out last season that she saw herself that Lucifer is what he says he is, the devil. And so the first 3 episodes in this season are dedicated to Chloe, um, possibly or potentially uh, tries to send Lucifer back to hell because she's all freaked out. And then, of course, eventually she learns to, or she comes to terms with the fact that Lucifer is not all bad. So she goes against this priest that's played by Graham McTavish. Um, she goes against their initial plan, basically. And then in the middle episodes, the next 4 or 5 episodes, of course, the introduction of Eve, the first woman in the garden, Garden of Eden, um, and how she adjusts to today's, to the world, to the society, and so it's a bit of a fish out of water for her a little bit, but we'll discuss her even further down the. I have some more notes on her, and then the last few episodes um, are dedicated to, because in the first episode, the priest mentions the prophecy, and then so nearing, like, I want to say last 3 episodes of this season 4, um, it gears more and more and more towards the prophecy, the consequence of it, and stuff like that. So I like how they structured for this season. And again, there's no filler, there's no distraction, there's no detour whatsoever. So that's a good thing. Um, so the show feels more straight to the point compared to how they were in the previous seasons back when the show was on Fox. Um, and I like that. I wish every show was like that. I wish I hated that Gotham had 22 episodes in the first 4 seasons. I was like, what? They had so many filler episodes that were just pointless. So I like Netflix format. Netflix is regularly 10 to 13, so it's cool. All right. Fun fact: Graham McTavish, who plays the preacher, or who plays the priest, Father Kinley, I believe his name in this one. Here's a fun fact: Graham McTavish was also previously part of another supernatural celestial theme series called Preacher on AMC. Remember that? He played the uh, what was his character? He played the Saints of Killers, I believe, the Saints of all Killers. And so that's interesting, right? And by the end of this season 4, it has to do with demons possessing bodies of people who are bad, basically. And Lucifer has to send those demons back to hell. And that kind of reminds me of Legends of Tomorrow, because Legends of Tomorrow, currently this season, John Constantine is part of the Legends of Tomorrow, and his duty is to send demons back to hell. So I'm like, when I see that, I'm like, oh, okay, that's interesting. I just want to point that out. um, Eve. Oh my God, Eve. Again, there's a little bit of a fish out of water stuff going on early on, but they don't really milk it that much, so that's a good thing. They don't keep hammering you with, like, oh, what is this? Oh, what's this? What's cell phone? What is that? So they don't play that out way too much. But there was at one point in one of the episodes where Lucifer had Eve to his left and then Chloe Decker to his right. It's like it's like the representations of bad influence and good influence, and that's awesome. And Eve got to kiss women like quite often in this one. Well, I want to say just twice, but still, that's more than once. She kissed Ella, and then in another episode, she kissed Mazikin. But that's also because Mazikin actually has a thing for Eve. So if you are into girl on girl makeout action, um, you're good to go, man. Watch Lucifer season 4, and you'll get that. Eve will give that to you. And if you're asking, hey Rama, what about gay men kissing scenes? Like, I don't have anything against that, but the show doesn't have that scene, unfortunately. So, but there are some girl on girl action, definitely. So in this season 4, the writers try to give each of the characters proportionate weight of drama of their own. For example, Amenadiel, his drama early on concerns the fact that he realizes, because he went to heaven, he brought Charlotte to heaven, but then he realizes, like, you know what, heaven's not my place, Earth is my home now, and the first few episodes is about him adjusting, not quite the same exact thing as Eve adjusting. Amenadiel has been on Earth, since the first season, but still, Amenadiel being Amenadiel, he still has some awkwardness within him. Like, he still um, hasn't had a full grasp of how certain things are done on Earth. So that provides some of the comic relief moments in the season 4. And then second half of season 4, Amenadiel, I kid you not, the writers, um, because Menadil had a thing with Linda in previous season, the psychiatrist. So bam, Linda turns out to be pregnant from Amenadiel, from that period of time where they actually um, make love or had sex. So and that leads to Amenadiel being confronted by one of his other siblings, Remy. And you know what? I guess you can categorize that as filler episode when Remy shows up and Remy says, "Hey, I'm gonna take the baby to heaven," you know. So and also that other filler episode, potentially filler episode, but not really quite, is when Amenadiel is trying to channel a father figure persona or role to this black teenager who's dealing with the drugs and the gangs in the neighborhood. I guess you can categorize that also somewhat of a filler episode, but it doesn't. It's not like the whole episode is dedicated just to that. Um, but what Amenadiel goes through with that experience, it affects his decision making when the baby does arrive. On because he asks himself, like, am I gonna be a good dad or not? So that's his drama. Whereas Mazikin's drama is uh, early on in the season. It's like the writers couldn't quite really figure out what to do with Mazikin, because Mazikin moved out of Chloe's apartment, and then she moved in with the psychiatrist, and then she has this not necessarily existential crisis, but more like, what's that's it. That's all I'm gonna be. I'm hunting bounties and then come home, and so it's a little bit of paper thin when it comes to Mazikin until Linda tells her to find companion. That's when Mazikin gets a little bit, her story gets a little bit meaty, at least meatier than the first half of the season. So yeah, it starts out pretty fumbly in the season 4 for Mazikin. And my favorite episode Oh, before I get to yeah, I'll get to my favorite episode. My favorite episode is the Expire Erect. That's the episode where um, Lucy, Lucifer, and Chloe and Eve and a bunch of people in his nightclub are taken hostage. It's a hostage situation, um, and I won't tell further what happens. You got to see the episode for yourself. But that's my favorite episode. That's also the episode where, oh yeah, 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 Ella is there too. So that's the episode where Eve kisses Ella. So and it's because Ella is drunk and has drugs in her system, so she's high as a kite. And Eve tries to calm Ella down by kissing her, and then that's when Lucifer says, "Well, at least I'll die uh, with my, I'll die with erection on." Basically, that's what he says. I love this episode. You got to see it for yourself. My least favorite episode is, I believe, episode 8, Super Bad Boyfriend. I don't like, because that's the episode where I feel like the investigation case isn't doesn't feel as strong. And I know that every episode deals with Lucifer trying to understand uh, this aspect of humanity and that aspect of human that aspect of humanity. But in this one, it, what he tries to understand is just not. I don't feel it compelling enough. I'll just leave it at that. I just don't feel it compelling enough, and it's all about him trying to come up with a reason to break up with Eve. I feel like this one is the weakest episode out of the whole 10 in the season 4. But that's my least favorite one. Another awesome moment I want to share with you before I go. Um, Last year at LA Film Festival, the now defunct LA Film Festival, I interviewed Amy Garcia, who plays Ella on this show. And I asked her, because I was talking about her movie that she was promoting there, and then by the end of it, I asked her, like, you got to give me some spoiler, not spoiler, scoop for about Lucifer season 4 for us Lucifer fans. And she said that you're gonna see more of Ella physically than you've ever seen. I kid you not. That's what she said. That's what she said. Uh, I'll provide the link in the description box below this video so you can watch that interview. I, and voila, that's exactly what we get in episode 6, I believe. There's this case that involves a nudist camp, and Lucifer and Ella braved in, and they took off their clothes. Obviously, they have body doubles, but the impression is that the characters went in naked to solve the case. So there you go. Amy Garcia really she really gave me the scoop. Like that was no lie at all. That was no tease at all. It's true. You get to see more of Ella physically in this season compared to previous seasons. So let me wrap this up by saying, because I gotta go to the screening, that um I love the fact that Lucifer came back, and I think the way season 4 wraps up at the end is also pretty nice. So even if there's no guarantee for season 5, I still want season 5. But even if there's no guarantee, it doesn't leave any cliffhanger whatsoever that leaves you like wondering. Um, I think it's well written. I think many of the characters, including Dan, Douchey Dan, he also, uh, he gets paid attention to by the writers. No, nobody's neglected here. Like I said, Mazzy starts off kind of soft, but then the writers give her some meteor drama near in the end. So nobody gets neglected. What else? I, the investigation part, the cases in each episode, because this is procedural kind of show. To be honest with you, they're not my most they're not the part about the show that I find most appealing. Okay, let's put it that way. Because the cases, as you know, the murder cases that happen in each episode, they are there simply just to speak about the state, the current state of Lucifer. Remember, Lucy, tries to understand um, aspects about our humanity as humans. You know, learns how trial and error sometimes, but he learns like, oh, what if I do this? Or what if I did that? Like, and then he will take what he sees from each murder case and tries to apply it on his perspective, or what he experiences, or what he struggles through during that same episode. So um, the cases, some of them are just so predictable, and they're weak. And I remember, I think two or three of them, like you can tell who the culprits or the perpetrators are, because it's always the least expected person. It's always like the person at the beginning who Chloe interviews, and then he shows up again at the end, being revealed as the bad guy. So it's so predictable. So the murder cases, I think in this show, not just in the season, when this show, it's not the part that really appeals to me. The characters are. Lucifer is. I love that character. I know it's based on Neil Gaiman's comic book, which I've never read, but obviously with Good Omens and Lucifer, Neil Gaiman has this fascination with um, celestial beings, or good versus evil. And you know what? I find that to be fascinating too. So I'm glad. Thank you so much, Netflix, for giving us Lucifer fans a season 4. I hope that you renew the show. But even if you don't, thank you at least for allowing us, the fans, to have another round of Lucifer Morningstar. And if this is the final one, then we at least got to say goodbye. Uh, unlike Fox that abruptly canceled it. So thank you, Netflix. Thank you so much, and thank you guys for tuning in on this special live review of Lucifer season 4. Watch it on Netflix. Binge watch all 10 episodes. All right, I gotta head out back to LA. There's another screening. Subscribe. Press that like button. Ring that bell. And if you can help support this channel, please do so at patreon.com/ramascreen. Let's rock this.